it going? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing amazing. First off, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me and to interview with me today. I truly appreciate
Thank you. You are so welcome.
it. So I want to, before jumping into the shy, your acting, your musical career, I want to rewind first. And I want to start off by asking you, where did your passion for the industry begin? Like, how did it all start for you? Any influences? Like, how did it all begin?
Mainly it started from my parents. My mother is an actress and she does theater, so my love for the art came rather naturally because I was with her all the time.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I watched what she did, and then when it came time for me to implement it, she was like, "Oh, you're really good." And one of her close friends was like, "You should get her an agent." And we go from there.
Rest was history. Now, you're still a student in school, correct?
Yes.
How's that going? Like, what grade are you in? How's that going when it comes to balancing out your career? How do you tend to do that?
Well, right now I am a rising junior, as people say it today. I don't know if that's the correct term, but yeah. Um, with school, it really depends because it depends on the school, like how they feel. Because sometimes I'll be able to go and I'll be like, hey, this is my work permit. I have to be out today. And they'll be like, okay, fine, here's your work. Other days I'll probably have to do work ahead of time
Mhm.
just so that I can be ready. And yeah, yeah, it's
Well,
it's rather yeah.
that's very exciting. The junior, sophomore, junior, like even freshman year and senior year, like I feel like that's all the best times, like honestly. So kudos to you. I'm so excited for you. Any plans for when you graduate or?
When I graduate, I do want to go to college. I want to major in business. And I guess if I can graduate early, I definitely would take that chance. Um, and yeah, I mean, just have as much fun as possible
Right.
and be, figure out how to find life by
Right.
myself. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Now I want to kind of dive into a little bit about the shy. How did you land your role, Maisha, which I absolutely love, by the way. I'm so excited. Your character is like so amazing. So how did you like land that role of the character of Maisha?
Well, it was actually my first really big role that
Mhm.
I got, that I really auditioned for. Um, Again, about the agent, I got an agent, and I had them for a while, and I guess before I switched, I just so happened to get a call back, and they were like, "Oh, you still want to do it?" And I was like, "Yes." So I went, I auditioned, and it was fun. It was nerve wracking, but I got through it. I memorized all the lines. My father didn't really like the lines because there was a lot of cussing in it. I was 12 at the time, but I was like, Dad, it's just a part of work. You gotta let me do it. And he was like, fine. So I auditioned probably about 3 times, and on that third time I auditioned for the writer and the director at the time of one of the episodes, and they called me back again and was like, hey, you got it, and I was like, yes.
Wow, I was my husband and I watch The Shy when as soon as it comes out, and so it's so funny because like, it's like we're also like us the viewers. I feel like we're just also growing up with you guys at the same time, like from like when it first started up until now. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know them, but I don't know them. But yes, that's amazing. So when it comes to acting, what do you love most about it, and what can be like kind of challenging?
The thing I love most about acting is getting to be absolutely who you want to be, and the experience behind it. I choose television over theater majority of the time only because the experience, it's the people you meet, the time, the call times, the just sitting in your trailer, being by yourself, doing these things, or having fun off of set. Those I love that. It's an experience that I feel like very few people get to experience, but it's special. The thing I don't like are the call times. I'm tired. I want to go home. Okay, 5 to 5 doesn't help me. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I have school. I have a test. Um, and just afterwards, things that come with it, because I mainly do it for the experience, and people and the bullying that comes with it, or the taunting and the opinions and all these things. I don't favor it, but it's character building, so I'm fine.
Yeah. Also, want to ask you now, when it comes to auditioning or even like prepping for your roles or the things you have to do, what are some of your must-haves, or what are some ways you prep before like going out there to film?
A way that I prep it, I try to find at least one or two cast members that are going to be in the scene with me that day, and I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to practice?" And if they're busier in hair and makeup or whatever, I'll ask my mom because she's usually there with me. So I
Oh,
run the runs, and we run them a few times, so I have to have my like sides with me always. I always have to have sides. Second, I need a space. Like on set they have, well, because we're on location, there'll be different spots that they've also shot in. So if this space is empty for today, I'll go in there and I'll just breathe. Sit there, play music, or do something. So I do need a space for at least 5 minutes just by myself, even if that's in my chair. I need that. And man, and like water,
wow.
because it'll be times where I'll be sitting there and um I'll just run out of just, I don't know, liquidation, and I need it,
Yeah.
just be able to get through my lines perfectly. So those are my three things that I need.
Speaking of music, I want to ask you about your music and your love for music and being a poet and all these amazing things. Where did that begin? Like, who are some of your favorite artists? And, just tell me all about it.
Well, my father is an MC, so a lot of my my love for music has based around what he's put me, with, or just brought me along to see. So I've been around him for so long that every time he would host an open mic, I would go, and I would just watch the art that would be presented, and I was like, I want to do this. And he was like, well, yeah. In addition to the acting part, he was like, okay, I'll give you a rap to recite, and you recite it. So he gave me one, and I ran that to the ground for like years. Every performance, I'd be like, this is what I want to do.
All right.
Um, and as I got older, I started learning how to write my own, just watching him in his creative process. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good at memorizing these things, and I'm good at, putting these together. So let me see if I could just try my best. And over the years, I ended up being able to do it by myself really well. And man, today, like, if I'm on set, I actually do have a playlist that we all use collectively
Mhm.
on set, like just for music purposes, and my music is on there right now. Give me a second.
Okay.
But yeah, some of my favorite artists are definitely Polo G, always Lil Baby. He can walk any song, it's arguable. um Dirk for sure.
Yeah.
And see, yes, okay, we're here. Chica, who else do I listen to? No Name, all just oh, Luke James, all these people that I love listening to. Those are some of my favorites to listen to on set, because they just give me, whether I want to be turned for the party or I want to be conscious for this conversation that we're having. So, yeah.
I definitely understand. Now, I want to like kind of rewind when you spoke about writing your music. Okay, so when you're like writing your music, do you like to have like, do you prefer like a beat in front of you first, or do you like to just write and then like put it to like the beat and kind of make it flow, or what do you prefer, the writing first or listen to the beat first, or a mixture? And if so, why?
Um, I definitely prefer a beat to be in front of me. Like, if I can have it, I would prefer that always, only because the beat will give me whatever the vibe of the song is. And that way I can just be able to match up what I'm gonna say. It doesn't really matter how I'm gonna say it with that beat, because that's given. But I love using a track already there just because it's kind of set already. There's an idea here. I know the words that match this idea. I know the feeling that I'm trying to give off, the vibe. So it's better. It produces just more creativity, and I can get the song done faster. So whereas to me writing it, because I do that all the time, I don't usually have beats with me, but if I have an idea in my head, I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to write this down. So I write this and I write that. And then later on, I'll be like, oh, I think this beat could work to it. But I
Okay.
definitely prefer a beat already there.
Okay. Now, who would you love to work with if you haven't already when it comes to music, when it comes to being a poet, or when it even comes to like acting?
Ooh. Um, okay. So for acting wise, I definitely want to work with Mahershala Ali. I feel like it's Mahershala, so I don't really have to. Okay. Who Courtney B. Vance. He's super funny. He does a lot of he works with my mom on another show, and I don't think I met him yet, but whatever. Anyways, he's very talented. Also, I would probably say Jack Black if he's still acting. Only it's funny. It's hilarious.
Mhm.
We work together. I love it. Music wise, I really don't know. I don't have a person that I would love to work with, like, specifically. I have There's everybody, anybody that's open and that is creative. Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd probably say Chica, because we have a similar thought process when it comes to writing. Um yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Now, do you feel like your character Maisha relates to who you are like in real life? If so, how and why?
I feel like me and Maisha share a lot of similarities, but at the end of the day, we do differ a lot, only because I have to learn how to separate myself from the character, or else I will get too attached, and all the things that people will say will hurt Genesis. So between Genesis and Maisha, we both have the same, like, demeanor. She is very tough, or just because of the way that I sit, people will think that I'm mean. Um, and when you actually get to meet her and you stop judging, you will figure out, oh, she's actually pretty nice, you know, and she's hilarious and she's funny, she's caring, she does all of this, but she will still check you at the end of the day. Don't do her wrong. I feel like we very smart, intelligent, outspoken. She's more unapologetic than I am. I do apologize a lot of the time.
Uh-huh.
Um, like my mom, she knows. But yeah, that the people who she necessarily surrounds herself with, I I don't, because I prefer solitude. I'm definitely not a people person, always, but I like fans, but I'm not a I won't I can't. My life is uh um but yeah, I feel like the major part where we differ is just the way she would handle situations.
Mhm.
It deals a lot with talking it out, and either starting with the checking first and then figuring out what happened along the way. Me personally, if this situation was going on, I probably wouldn't even be here. Like, I wouldn't be in this situation. I would be so far gone. Um, yeah, but yeah, that's really it.
Okay. Now, who are some of your favorite, like, poets or some of your favorite poems of all time that you can kind of share?
My favorite poem that I wrote,
Either
or
or you wrote, or just in general, either or.
okay. So there's this lady. Her name is Caleb the poet. She is absolutely amazing. That is my mentor, second mom. I love her. All of her art. She has a poem called uh, she has a poem called I'm a Survivor, or she has a poem called Watch Me Work. Those are two of the poems that I really love the most. Um, I don't know. She has another one called Nikki and Nookie. All of it. I can't remember all of them right now, and I don't even think we have enough time for all of that. But those are the three I would say that I love so much.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna check it out. You said what was her name again?
K Love the Poet.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna definitely check it out. I used to love, and I still do love, like, hearing poets and speaking stuff like that. So that's why I'm gonna check her stuff out because I think that, it's important for me. I feel like it's kind of therapeutic in a sense. Well,
Yeah.
actually it is. And yeah, so I definitely want to check her out for sure.
Yeah, it's actually something I missed when the pandemic closed down. Like I was in LTAB at the time, and it's something about being in a space with a bunch of people who do the same art as you, or even if you don't do it at all, the people that you meet that want to share their art willingly are amazing.
Hmm.
And it was a certain human connection that you had that when the pandemic happened, it just took away.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah. And I also feel like, you are someone who is inspiring a lot of young girls out here and people in general. Thank you for doing that. I really feel like, it's very much so needed, especially during this time. But you are definitely like raising the bar for a lot of people and just really being amazing. And I read your story as well. I think it's amazing. And for someone who wants to follow in your footsteps and want to be like you, what advice can you give? Because oftentimes people are scared to chase their dreams and take that leap of faith, but you're doing it. So, what advice can you give to someone who is scared?
mm, okay. A lot of people ask me this question, and I don't want to sound redundant. So, I would, the first thing I would say is write out everything you really want to do. For me, I have a very small case of attention deficit. So, it's like I'm interest based on the things that I want to pay attention to. I literally do, and I hyper focus. So that helps me whenever I'm in that hyper focus mode of figuring out everything I want to do. If I want to start a business, if I want to book another job, if I want to write a song, I have to literally write out how I'm feeling about the song, what I want to do, what are the steps that I think I should take. So those things are very beneficial, especially for me. Um, Second, I would work on mastering the art of self versus mastering the art of circle, only because when you get in that circle, because you're going to hit 67 different circles before you find what you really love to do. So you need to really know yourself. I would say you don't have to love yourself at that moment because that's a journey in itself, but it would help a lot just to master knowing who you are and how you move in situations, because when you get in that circle full of actors who have already done it before, already have set groups of people that they talk to and may not want to talk to you because you're new, you got to know, hey, look, I don't want to be over there, or I'm going to make it my mission to be friends with everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
know, figure out how you move around, because that'll help you a lot. And it'll, when you get to that circle of Instagram or circle of social media in itself full of people who are literally making it their job to hurt you, you're going to know how to, like, respond in your best way.
Yes,
um yeah.
absolutely. I mean, before I ask my last question, since I have to let you know, I am so excited for the new episode to be released. I'm like waiting, counting down the days. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hoping that Maisha and Papa get back together. I'm like, he didn't throw her this party. He is trying, okay? So I want to let you know, I'm hoping that the next episode I see, y'all get to work together. But my last question would be, how would you describe Genesis in 3 words? And also, what is next for you?
Ooh, okay. How I describe myself in 3 words? I would say intelligent.
Yeah.
um I would say caring, and I would say leader.
Yeah.
um yeah.
Okay.
And what's next for me right now, just I'm planning how to go through with making a space for people like me to just coexist, because you know it's very hard as an artist, as a child artist, to find people who actually are your kin, you know, because you go through shows where there are 50 million adults here and there are like 2 kids. That was usually my issue growing up, because I was always around my mom and she did the tour and it was adults, so there was parties that I couldn't go to. So I'm working on trying to figure out how to implement a space just where people like me can be themselves and can come to after being in these different circles and just chill. So
I like that. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on everything, and I wish you all the best with everything that you're doing. Thank you so much, and I love the braids, by the way.
thank you, girl.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, and you take care. Congrats again.